だから。手放したら二度とつかめねえんだよ。
Ambiguity, vague, and abstract. These are probably the words you would think of to describe OreGairu. There are several times where you let alone how they feel. This can be really confusing to the audience, and that's why I have cluster headaches trying to make this fucking video. Even the title itself emphasized that we are always wrong. In other words, we can't simply understand OreGairu from just watching the anime. Therefore, in an attempt to break the ambiguity of OreGairu, I have turned to the external literature that could be found in the series. Hopefully, this video will provide you with a different perspective to what Hachiman meant by the word genuine, and how it relates to its relationship with Yukino. This is Wataru Watari, the author behind OreGairu. He is also great mates with Eguchi Takuya and Chado Hori, as they regularly drink together, and do some other stuff. One should already notice that the famous novel Kokoro by Natsumi Sōseki appeared in a short essay by Hachiman in Volume 4 of the light novel, or episodes 7 to 8 in Season 1. The novel clearly influenced the main message of the summer camp arc. It was even mentioned briefly in a short dialogue between Yukino and Hachiman on page 222 of Volume 4. Sōseki's Kokoro showed us that humans by nature are really just egotistical and selfish subjects. Additionally, the short story Inner Grove by Akutagawa Ryunosuke was mentioned afterwards. Similarly, Ryunosuke's Inner Grove addresses the tendency of humans to lie and distort reality in order to further their self-interests. Inner Grove is constituted of different testimonies in the form of monologues regarding the murder of a man. The point of this story is not about who killed the man, but rather about how everyone, including the murderer, exaggerates the truth to present themselves as who they think they are internally, not what they do externally. The message of Kokoro was elaborated clearly when Hayama and his friends intentionally intimidated the group of elementary kids, and among them was the lolly Tsurumi Rumi. Without hesitation, the group of elementary kids sacrificed Rumi first. Because she's always alone, because she does not get along well with others, it was the most comfortable thing to use her as a scapegoat. I really like how irony was used in the test of courage scene. The horrors are not the ghosts, monsters, mages, or zombies, but the true horror is none other than ourselves, our selfish and despicable human nature. The two books Run Melos and No Longer Human by Osamu Dazai made its appearance in the form of 3 memorandums in Volume 10 of the light novel. Although they are written by the same author, the two are in fact radically different. Dazai loathed the tendency of humans to be hypocrites, and both of these books explored it with great psychological insights. In No Longer Human, the main character Oba hated the unpredictability of people's behaviors. He was terrified at how easily it is for humans to get angry and be aggressively violent. This explains why Oba created a superficial mask to be a clown, to make those around him laugh. He wanted to dissociate himself with this ugly human nature. The irony here is that he himself was subjected to alcoholism, drugs, prostitution, one-night stands here and there, and even joint suicides. Is this not much worse than the self-interest nature of humans? I think No Longer Human gives birth to anxiety. The same anxiety Hachiman had towards people. The image of Yukino that Hachiman stubbornly clung on to 2 and 3 as well. It became clear that what people do does not align with how they feel and think. It became clear that the image of ourselves could never align with how others think of us. It became clear that what we rationally and logically think as right can go extremely wrong. It became so clear that situations can go in the opposite direction easily when one's not careful. Furthermore, words are never enough. If you do not say things, nobody will know. Yet if you say it out loud, the message won't go through. Knowing all of this is so depressing and provokes so much anxiety that we begin to lose touch with reality itself. The Little Prince. Although ridiculed and even parodied in the cult, before departing with the little prince, the fox confided in a little secret. He whispered, "What is
To look with the heart. The time they had spent together, their shared struggle, makes their relationship unique amongst the world." To give a more concrete example of this abstract theory, we need to turn to a book called The Gift of the Magi by American writer O. Henry. The book served as a Christmas play during the end of Season 2, and it was one of Yukino's book collections. The book is about a poor husband and wife named Jim and Della. Each of them has their most treasured possession. Jim owns a gold watch that was inherited by his father and by his grandfather, while Della, her beautiful and long hair. To buy a Christmas present for Jim, Della cut and sold her precious hair, and then bought a chain that will fit Jim's watch. She went home and waited for Jim anxiously, anxious about his upcoming reactions. When Jim arrived home, he looked at Della's hair. He was speechless. He was speechless not because of Della's short hair, but because he had sold his precious gold watch to buy a comb for Della's hair, thus making both of their presents useless. If we look with our eyes, let's be honest, it's pretty stupid. They were dirt poor and then sold their most treasured possessions only to realize that their gifts were of no practical use. But if we looked with the heart, what's more important is the act of giving up their most prideful possessions to be with the other person. This is what Hachiman meant by the word genuine. This is what he had searched for all along. To Hachiman, what was genuine was his relationship with Yukino. But something genuine does not limit to romance only. Rumi's selfless act of saving her friends that bullied her, when Hachiman mended up with Komachi, and when Komachi thanked Hachiman in return, and many more if you just looked with the heart. Something genuine lasts long. It does not break with time. And it is, of course, painful. It hurts. It was precisely because Hachiman's false relationship was realized and shattered that he could build a genuine one. It's through realizing that everybody is ridiculously hypocritical and selfish, including ourselves, that we can start again. The paradox here is that only through giving up the superficial things that we can get what's genuine and important. In conclusion, Dazai's insights to human hypocrisy, Sōseki's insights to human selfishness, and Akutagawa's insights to humans' unreliable perceptions, it's as if Watari deliberately tried to answer these problems with the theory of genuine. What's genuine is the unselfish love demonstrated in the gift of the Magi, and the only way to get there is through the formula from the Little Prince. What's essential is invisible to the eye.